Alright, so the next example, and I'm just going to do this, this is a long one, it's kind of got a little bit of everything in it. And there's one similar to it in your homework. Alright, so suppose that we have a Hershey's chocolate bar, right? And the dimensions of a Hershey's chocolate bar are 5.5 inches by 2 1/4 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch. So again, it's a three-dimensional, it's a box shape, right? It's a three-dimensional object. It's got a length, a width, and a height. Did that funky there. Alright, so there would be my chocolate bar. The dimensions of the bar are 5.5 inches by 2 1/4, which 1/4 of an inch is 1/4 of an inch, so 2.25 inches. And then the height is 1/4 of an inch. Again, you can leave it in, I actually think it's easier to type in decimals versus fractions into the calculator, but you can leave it either way. Alright, either way. So that would be its length, width, height. Alright, of my chocolate bar. Right, terminology, end to end, side to side. So end to end would mean I'm placing it end to end. So the long side is left open, you're placing the short side, right? This would be the end, and this would be the side. Right, so end to end would be placing it lengthwise. Side to side would be placing it along its longer side, right? That would be the side to side. Stacked means you're going to stack them on top of each other, right? You're going to get a bunch of chocolate bars and stack them on top. All right, so those are sort of the phrases that you want to make sure you're familiar with. All right, so end to end, you do your little ends go next to each other. Side by side, the long ends go next to each other. And stack, you're literally stacking them up on top of each other. All right, so the first question, suppose we were going to take 5 chocolate bars and place them end to end. So again, end to end would be the long way, right? And so there are 5 of them. So that means we're going to have the 5.5 all the way down, and you're going to add those together, right? Those are going to be the added. And so the shorthand for adding the same thing multiple times is, well, I'm going to add 5.5, right? 5.5 inches, because that's how long it is, 5 times. Well, instead of adding them individually 5 times, you're going to take the length, which is 5.5 inches, and multiply it by 5. That's how long putting 5 candy bars next to each other would be. And so you're going to take your 5 candy bars and multiply it by the length 5.5 inches. And that will give you your total length once you line them all up, which comes out to be 27.5, or if you prefer the fraction, 27.5 inches. All right, that's how long they would be. They would be 27.5 inches if they would be lined up end by end. All right, so suppose now we want to place 10 bars end to end. So instead of drawing it out, basically you're going to have 10 of those. Instead of 5 candy bars, you're going to take 10 of them. And so you're going to have 10 candy bars. Each of those candy bars are 5.5 inches. So you're going to have 5.5 inches added up 10 times. And so you're going to take 10 times your 5.5. And so that comes out 55 inches. All right, it'd be 55 inches long if you put 10 candy bars end to end. All right, so now we're going to do a large number, right? Again, you wouldn't want to actually list it out. You wouldn't want to, so there would be 2 million candy bars. So you're going to have 2 million candy bars, each 5.5 inches long. And so you would technically be adding up 5.5 2 million times. But you don't want to do that. So you're going to take your 2 million times the 5.5, and that's how long it would be. But you have to remember what 2 million means, right? Remember, 2 million is 2 times 10 to the 6. That's how much that number would be when we go to multiply it out on our calculator. So, 2 million. So there's the 2 million candy bars. Each of them are 5.5 inches long. And so when we take 2 million, line them up end to end, how many inches would it be? And then we'll convert it to miles. So we're going to have to do that miles conversion again. All right, so you again, remember, you're going to literally take your calculator 2 times 10 raised to the 6 times 5.5 is how you're going to multiply it out in your calculator. When you do, it comes out to Again, depending on your calculator, it'll either give you the whole number like that, which again is 11 million inches. All right, that's what that number represents, 11 million inches. All right, which we want to convert my 11 million inches into miles. So remember, the conversion isn't exact. You have to go to inches to feet and then feet to miles. So remember, 1 foot is 12 inches. 1 mile, again, you can look it up on the table, is 5,280 feet. All right, so you're going to take your 11 million, and 11 million is not too bad. I'm going to just write it out. Again, it would be 11 times 10 to the 6th. That's inches. You're going to get rid of inches, so you want your 12 inches in the bottom. You want your 1 foot up top, so you get rid of the inches. And then we want miles, so we want the 1 mile up top, the 5,280 feet in the bottom, so feet cancel, and I'm left with just miles. All right, so you're going to take your 11 million times 1/12, or divide by 12, times 1 over 5,280, or again, divide by 5,280. When you do that, it comes out 173.6, so I'm just going to round up to 174 miles. It's a lot of candy. All right, if we line up 2 million Hershey's bars end to end, it will occupy about 174 miles. Again, 173.6 is what I get when I do it, multiply it out. All right, the next example. Suppose we were to place 2 million, so again, we're looking at 2 million candy bars, but this time we're going to go side by side. So remember, it's the side by side, so it's the shorter side that we're adding up. It's the 2.25 that we're going to add up 2 million times, right? You go back and look at the side of the candy bar, right? 2.25, 2 1/4 inches is the side. Right? But remember, 2 million of them. So 2 million is 2 times 10 to the 6. That's where we get our 2 million candy bars. Lining them up side by side means each of them has a distance of 2 1/4, 2 1/4 of an inch. So each one of those are going to have a distance of 2 1/4, 2 million times. So you're going to take your 2 million times 2.25 inches. And again, we do have to convert that to miles. So first inches, then miles. So first inches, then miles. So similar conversion to the last one. That comes out to be 450,050. All right. So again, I'm just going to leave it. So it'd be 4.5 million if you write it out in words. That's what it would be, 4.5 million inches. All right, but I'm going to just use the 4.5 million, or 4,500,000. Remember the conversions. For every 1 foot, 12 inches. For every 1 mile, 5,280 feet. So you're going to take your 4.5 million inches times 1 foot divided by 12 inches, because the inches cancel, times 1 mile divided by 5,280 feet. Feet cancel. Leaves me with my miles. So you're going to take the 4,500,000, divide by 12, or multiply by 12, divide by 5,280. Since we've done that a few times, I'm just going to go ahead and write the number out. I'm going to round to the whole mile again, so it comes out to be about 71. So it's a lot less when we go side by side, right? When we went end to end, it was about 170, so it was almost 100 miles more, right? 174 miles side by side, and it should make sense. It's about half the distance, right? When we had the side by end to end, it was 5.5. This is 2 1/4. All All right, area. We want to find the area. So be careful here. The area is, if we were looking at our candy bar, that's this part. That's the area, right? How much area does it occupy? Like if you're a rug, how much area does your rug occupy? And so we're going to find the area. Well, it's the area of a rectangle, right? Area is length times width. The length was 5.5. The width was 2.25. So area is 5.5 inches times 2.25 inches. And so area is going to be inches squared. So when that multiplies out, 12.375 inches squared. If I leave it as a decimal, again, you can convert it to fraction. Might be a little easier to write it as a fraction. And again, depending on if we're doing homework assignments, they may ask for the fraction. All right, so the fraction would be 99 over 8 inches squared, or if we write the mixed fraction, that would be 12 plus 3/8. Again, most calculators will write that out, so depending on your calculator, 12 and 3/8 of an inch squared. All right, almost all calculators will do the fraction conversion. So again, make sure you know how to do that on your calculator. There are videos for any of that out there. I prefer the decimal, so I'm going to use the decimal. If you prefer the fractions, you can use the fractions. Again, 12.375, we're going to leave it exact. That's exactly how much area it occupies. Is the same as the fraction 99 divided by 8. Is the same as the fraction 12 and 3/8. All right, so it's 12 and 3/8 space is how much it takes up. All right, suppose you spread 10 candy bars over the ground. How much square inches would they cover? So we want to know the total area. So again, if I put out 10 candy bars, right, and I'm going to not draw them all, but if I went out and I did 10, how much would be the total area they would take up? Well, I would have to take each one of these and add it 10 times. All right, or since it's the same number 10 times, I take that number and multiply by 10. All right, so the total area would equal 10 times that 12.375, or again, you can use your inches, your fractions. Again, it moves the decimal place over 1 is what happens. Inches squared, which would be the decimal version, which again, you can always use your calculator. If you want to write it as a fraction, this would be 495 over 4 inches squared, or the mixed fraction, 123, 23 and 3/4. All right, those are all the same. And I would prefer to this one, but any of those would work. Just make sure you're careful if they say around this many decimal places, put it in fraction form, make sure you do that. Again, follow the directions. All right, next one. If you spread, so again, our 2 million candy bars again, how many square feet would they cover? Square feet. All right, so I've got to make sure this time I'll first find it in inches, and then I'll have to convert it to feet. So I've got to keep that in mind. So always read, always read the problem carefully, right? It wants it in feet. So we will have to convert to feet. I'm putting that there to remind me that I need to convert from square inches to square feet. All right, so 2 million, remember, is 2 times 10 to the 6th. There's our 2 million candy bars. Each of those candy bars occupies 12.375 inches squared of space. So when I multiply that out, that's the number I get. And again, it's in inches squared, which is not the answer I want. I don't want square inches. I want square feet. So I have to do my feet conversion. So 2475 with 4 zeros after it, inches squared. Well, remember the square conversion. 1 foot is 12 inches, but I want those squared. So I need to square it. So 1 foot squared is equal to 12 squared, which was 144 inches squared. All right, so you have to remember we have to use the square conversion. All right, so 144 inches squared is equal to 1 foot squared. Inches squared cancel out. So I'm going to take that really big number and divide it by 144. Divide it by 12 twice. You could do it that way as well. So you're going to take your 2475000 and divide that by 144, which comes out to be 171875 feet squared. Still it takes up a lot of space. All right, 171,875 feet squared is how much space it'll take up, which is a lot of space. All right, next question, our part I. All right, now we want the volume of the candy bar. So again, I'm going to draw my candy bar here. So remember, volume is length times width times height. And we were given each of those. Length was 5.5 inches. Width was 2.25 inches. And the height was 1/4 of an inch. So 1/4 of an inch or 0.25 inches. So volume is length times width times height. So our 5.5 times our 2.25 times our 1/4. Or again, you can use the fraction equivalent. When you multiply that and leave it exact, 3.094. And remember, inches cubed, right? Because I've got 3 dimensions, it should be inches cubed. Alright, the last question, the last part of the Hershey bar question. So suppose then I were to take 100,000 and I could stack them on top of each other. So I'd kind of do it perfectly so I could stack them on top of each other. How much space in cubic inches, so we don't have to do any conversions, which is nice. We just want to know how tall would it be. How much space would it occupy if we stacked up 100,000 of them? So that's the volume it would take. We want 100,000 of those. So you would take the 100,000 candy bars. Each one of them occupies 3.94 inches cubed of space. Right. Multiply them out. Basically, you're just going to move your 0 over the number of times inches cubed. So 309,400 inches cubed would be how much space they would occupy. All right, so this is an example that kind of threw it all together, did a little bit of the lessons we've already done, a little bit of the geometry lessons, and a little bit of the unit conversion lessons. So it was sort of putting large numbers, mixing them with some previous lessons that we did. So that was a nice problem to walk through. And like I said, there's a problem like that on your notes, so make sure you understand it. I mean, in the homework, so make sure you understand it.